You're a good kid, Weiler.
Dude, the echo of that line hit me in the fucking heart. Like, you sons of bitches, this dumb fucking show.
Dumb.
God damn it. Like, I'm back in the cinema 1 and 2.
You're so angry that it's like you're angry that it's working. Like,
Oh my god.
God damn it. Episode 527 of the TV Dudes, recorded February 20th, 2025. Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 3. Damn it. You gotta be kidding me. This week, we check out the final part of the final season of Cobra Kai, which 100% more swearing and a bunch of amazing karate fights.
That's right. I loved all of the documentaries the last couple of years about weird little cults that destroy families and towns and stuff, but none more than Cobra Kai.
What? No, that's not. No, this is a show about a children's karate tournament. This is not Wake Up.
No, it is a show about how a cult meets in a strip mall and then causes multiple public riots before killing a teen in a fighting ceremony.
Okay, it's not all about that.
Like, either way, I'm here for it. I'm just saying,
It's not about that, but also...
But before that, I'm Les.
I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes.
TV Dudes never die. And a third part of the 6th season of a series that pulls from 3 movies isn't all we watch.
To the Diaries!
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
It reminds me of, like, this last season. He's like, oh, season 6, the finale, part 3. Like, dude, are we sure it's done yet? I feel like the rug's been pulled out from under me.
I mean, it's going to be fine until somebody digs up the grave of Cobra Kai and stabs it with a rod from the fence, and lightning strikes it. Yeah.
But no, to the Diaries, baby.
And I wanted to say that it pulled from 4 movies, but we'll discuss why I couldn't. Why this season was a lot of things, but not swanky.
Try to stop making swanky happen. Swanky will not happen.
Not in this show.
But you know what's been happening, dude? We watched Paradise. And
this
we
is
caught
true.
up on the 2 episodes we were behind by. Man, I'm falling more and more in love with that show.
Every single episode. It on the one hand, it is the once a year mystery event show that we've gotten every single year since Lost started.
Yes.
And like whether it's Persons Unknown or any number of
4400.
At least that one ran a bunch of seasons, but like there was the reboot too.
I mean, Mrs. Davis was kind of like
Mrs.
that.
Davis, but yeah, go look up Persons Unknown. Like Chris McQuarrie had a show about a bunch of people that just appear in a town and don't know how they got there, and there's a magic fence around it.
Right.
It's absolutely bizarre.
They haven't made a TV series about Revival yet.
Right. Well, there's a ton of these, and I, on the one hand, this is just one of those. It just happens to be the tightest one I've ever seen.
Well, it's one of those where
it's a Paradise, Wayward Pines. All these kind of shows. But this one dots its I's and crosses its T's in a way that every episode leaves me going, damn, I love this show.
Well, I've never seen one where the main protagonist is as decisive as Sterling K. Brown is in this. But also, the mystery shows are always like, I need to know more, and it's always about fighting to know more, and the goal is to know what this conspiracy is. That's not Sterling K. Brown's goal here.
No.
His goal here is to get justice, and he knows Sinatra did something.
Right.
So I never seen a protagonist from one of these shows basically go, I know enough.
Yeah.
In which he doesn't know shit.
No, that I hadn't been able to put my finger on why it is so shaking to have this event happen in the middle of this series where the main without knowing enough goes ahead and shows his hand.
Well, I would
every movie we ever see, we are always tried to be sold on the logic of like you gotta play it close to the vest until the end of the 3rd act, and then you reveal it all when you're dead sure. And he's like, "Fuck it! What I really got to do is just shake things."
It doesn't matter what the secret is.
Right.
The fact that there is one,
a secret,
and that it's worth killing over, means that I know exactly what she'll do if I threaten to expose it.
Oh man, that latest episode was fucking awesome. Every episode's been really good. I love, like, we both agree that Sterling K. Brown is fucking awesome and should have every opportunity, because I don't think he's blown up yet.
Yeah.
Not as big as he should go. And I love Juliet Nicholson from Mayor of Easttown. And it's great to see her get to be in a bigger role, so she's cool as Sinatra.
Yeah.
James Marsden is a really great drunk pretty boy president. Like, it's just great casting all around. But then I was surprised that I absolutely fell in love with the guy playing Billy Pace.
Yeah.
Really love, like, that character. And the mystery of it gives me Silo vibes, but in a way that I like more. I really like how little they are trying to explain so much what's going on in the world. Like, it's not obsessed with its own sci-fi and worldness.
Yeah.
It's a guy trying to solve a fucking murder of a guy he was job was to protect. And he's mad about it.
Yeah, well, you've been sold a bill of goods by this,
Like, it's a guy who was barely hanging on because of his wife not being in there with him.
Yeah.
And then this, like finding out that you were barely hanging on and it's a bill of goods, too much.
No, bullshit.
Guy, if we're being oblique, I want everybody to go watch. I hope I haven't spoiled too much already. Don't watch commercials for it. Who watches commercials anymore?
Yeah.
Just go watch Paradise. Go watch
Absolutely.
first episode of it and tell me if you don't think it's fucking cool.
Great. Honestly, when the finale wraps up, we might just dedicate the whole
Absolutely. I was just sitting here thinking about that. Get out of my head.
But
I'm
that
surprised
also
we're not
made
talking
us,
about the Paradise finale.
his Die Hard plan, I think, is what sparked us watching Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Absolutely. Yeah, right after. So in the most recent episode, a character on Paradise, character just does a Die Hard plan.
Yeah.
And name checks it. It's fucking hilarious. And so, for whatever reason, Hulu threw up Die Hard with a Vengeance on the list of movies, and we were like, yeah, we should watch that right now. Fuck it. Yeah, no, we should watch that right now. Boop!
We were talking about, like, the scene at the beginning with John McClane and, like,
wearing the signboard. And that was one of the first examples of, like, seeing that in 95 in the theater before we really understood CG and how effects worked at all.
Yeah.
They weren't behind the scenes on everything.
No, Bruce Willis didn't actually go out in public.
It's a sign
with that
covered
sign.
with a bunch of different size, like red crosses, so that they can track it and everything. It's really seamless.
Man,
like, it does not read as an effect.
No,
which,
it looks like he's.
Oh, they hid their work there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
This movie has a lot of those moments. He surfs on the top of a cab of a truck with a wave behind him, and the green screen is green screen, but it's quite nice.
It's really good.
For 95, it's fucking great.
Well, also Sam Jackson fucking rules in that movie.
Oh my god! But the writing, I had not appreciated when I first saw this, and I don't think I'd seen it very much since. How tightly written it is. How many things touch back? How everything it's a lovely little gem, and also it is still very much a look at one hand, not the other diversion, Die Hard plot, while also not being a retread like the second movie was.
Yeah.
I was so impressed by Die Hard with the Vengeance. If you haven't watched that in a few years, you should go rewatch the third Die Hard movie. I hear it.
Yeah.
I know it sounds nuts.
It's good stuff. I also watched Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think you watched some of those with me.
I watched a little bit of this, like parts of 2 episodes.
And that was one of those, like, man, I'm glad I didn't rewatch this before the movie, because honestly it would have made me even more disappointed with some of the action sequences.
So that was what hurt. I watched the start of the first episode with you, which is like the fucking helicopter fight scene, that whole thing through the canyon. And holy shit, that's
so good.
Such a great fucking fight scene. And then the next time I walked in was the Walker kill.
Yeah, Walker
scene.
when he's fully got the super soldier serum running through him.
And that was nuts. Like, I'd forgotten just how Battlestar dies, and you just, oh man. Wyatt Russell's a fantastic choice. Because he's both an affable guy that you like he's a soldier you feel like you could have a beer with, but he also seems like you might have seen some shit. And when he's got to play that moment, it works. And I think it's why he's going to be able to, like, bring some surprising humor, like in that Thunderbolts trailer.
Yeah.
Stop fucking shooting at me!
God damn it! I really enjoyed that to the point where I watched Civil War again, watching that playthrough. And so well, I was like, well, as long as I'm watching the Falcon and Winter Soldier parts of the MCU, I might as well watch the other one that Brave New World basically draws a lot from. And I watched the
Spoilers for
Incredible
Brave
Hulk.
New World, but Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. And I forgot he's not in it a lot, but Tim Blake Nelson as the leader is actually a really fun weirdo
man.
scientist.
He gets
just so excited.
His leader performance gets even more fun watching him. Not
Dude, he kicks a piece of tech to make it go like an engine.
And doesn't just kick it, grabs another cabinet
just to get
and
a real good
swings
leverage
himself into it.
So he gets a good leverage.
And he knows exactly what's going on. Like, oh god damn it! And like,
hold on.
Hang on, I gotta jump sideways into this. No, it's great. And you talked about like even in his texts with. Like even his text communication with Banner,
Mr. Blue and Mr. Green,
you can still like hear.
It's a lovely little flower, isn't it?
Yeah, you can hear Tim Blake Nelson reading it. And what cracked me up is that his performance still comes through so much with the creepiness, like with his voice kind of changed in the Brave New World movie. I also love that in the new movie, Blake Nelson fought for that. I guess it's just Nelson. I think Blake's just a middle name.
I think Blake's his middle name.
Yeah, so Nelson. Fought
for that Nelson doesn't run right off the tongue.
Yeah, doesn't work. Tim Blake Nelson. That makes it sound like Marianne. Tim Blake.
TBN.
TBN. He fought for it to be prosthetics. So he's wearing like weird fucking makeup in the new movie.
Good decision. Good decision, actually.
Hear us talk more about Cat Brave New World on Patreon this week. We'll get to that in a minute.
Absolutely. I also watched a lot of fucking superhero shit this week, I'm realizing. Watched the next episode of Harley Quinn. So there was an article on comicbook.com that finally hit, like someone's finally, like some people are falling out of love with Harley Quinn, but no one's like put their finger on it like I thought what is wrong. And they point out in this episode, like, Season 5 has a Harley problem, and this episode realizes it and tries to play lip service to it without fully addressing it.
Talking about the murder mystery episode?
Nope, that's the last episode. The good one. This one is the musical episode.
Oh, God.
And it's kind of pretty bad. Like, the musical's bad.
I mean, I'll be honest, like, we'll discuss Spider-Man in a minute, but, like, a musical episode just automatically right there in the name does something that I don't think you're going to enjoy.
Well, yeah,
it's not the episode part. You can guess again. It's the musical bit.
It's not a musical episode. Clayface puts on a play because Lena Luthor finally has had enough with Brainiac. So she tells everybody what Brainiac's problem, or tells Clayface, Harley Quinn, and Bane that what Brainiac did. She's telling these dipshits, not Lois Lane. The previous episode where Lois Lane and Harley Quinn are going to team up to solve this mystery, done in the first 5 minutes of the next episode.
Okay.
She learns that Harley Quinn murdered a guy there in Metropolis early and was like, I'm not working with a murderer. And like, oh, okay, I'm glad we fucking teased that to never do anything with it again.
I know you didn't have proof, but you just didn't make an assumption that Harley probably murdered somebody prior to you meeting her at any point. Like, you were already talking to her, like, anyway. Well,
it's funny because Lois thinks that murder has to deal with the Brainiac thing, which is not. It doesn't. That's Harley. Harley.
Harley. Like, I haven't even seen this episode, but I'll just like, it's just a random. Like, statistically, it's more likely that a Harley murder does not have to do with the thing you think it does.
And here's where the problem comes in, and what the I should have gotten the article writer's name because it was a great idea. Like, Harley is no longer the protagonist and hasn't been for a minute of the Harley Quinn show, because Harley doesn't have a thing to do. Last episode, she was hooking up with Lois Lane because she needed something to do and told Ivy, like, I can't, just sit at home and do stuff while we live our new Metropolis life, and you go off and do the Green Initiative, which we haven't seen Ivy do since the Woodrue, Jason Woodrue incident. And so now they're going to tell the whole Metropolis, the whole city, about Brainiac's plan via this play. That at first is Clayface's idea, and then Harley goes along with it because Harley, I guess. But then even Poison Ivy says, okay, I guess that's what we're going to do. Lena Luthor, like, it also looks like it may kind of work, but it's a dumb way to let everybody know. Mm-hmm. Especially when you could just tell Lois Lane, but no, Lois Lane has quit the planet because Clayface has been pretending to be Perry White for a minute. And she prints that Harley's a murderer.
Okay.
And like, which is just not news. You have to like forget.
No, that's what.
You have to forget that a lot of previous season stuff happened, and
which has been their. That's just. I don't know. That it just seems to have been their problem all along. Is like, not just that they want to forget a lot of earlier stuff happened, but the shifting witch stuff.
Well, the premise of the season seems to be Harley doesn't know what she wants to do with her life, which really manifests. It feels more like it manifests because the writers don't know what to do with Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea beyond her getting over the Joker, which was the first couple seasons, or realizing she's not quite a bad guy anymore, which was season 3. They don't really have a way to turn her into a good guy or give her an arc that actually fucking makes sense. And so the last 2 seasons have been about Poison Ivy.
No, and I hate to say it, but the only place that makes sense for me for the show to go, and I don't think this is what they're doing, is to like look at it this way. Harley got out from under Joker, started what seemed like a healthy relationship with Harley. Harley is now, started with Ivy. Ivy's now taken over Harley's show and life, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And Harley is completely as a B character in her own life to
Right.
Ivy now. So the only place, and none of us wanted it to go there because Ivy and Harley are fucking awesome together, and we all love gay Harley, and she can still be gay Harley, but she needs to be single and be Harley.
Right.
Like we all love the ship, but the only growth arc place for her to go, given where she started from, the first episode of getting out from under Joker.
Right.
The only real place for her to go is to like it. I mean, we've all, if you've been through your 20s, you have done it, or you have known somebody who has realized that they've never
been single.
Yeah, that they've never been single, or and like, or that they've never like live alone is that's a roommate money thing, but like they've never not lived with a romantic partner,
mm-hmm.
or something along those lines, and like that's where fucking Harley is.
And you could argue that Harley's been single for seasons 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
because before they fully pull the trigger on the Ivy thing, but Ivy's always been there.
Right. It felt like she was always working towards that.
So for me, it would be just commit to making her a good guy. I know it doesn't quite make sense,
Right,
but it's something, and it gives her a place to go.
I'd make her like I'd go with single Harley and make her commit to being a good guy, but she can't join on any of the teams that she's met so far because her arbitrary rules are different than their arbitrary. And they'd be like, our rules aren't arbitrary. Everybody's rules are arbitrary.
Like, she's more like a Red Hood type person.
Right. Like that she just wants to go out like, look, I'm just going to do things I think are right, and I'm not going to do things I think are wrong.
Right.
And like, but I'm going to do it my way, Harley style.
Well, they do
right off into the sunset alone.
Yeah. Well,
no one would like my show, but I don't like this show. So
this episode also was funny of like Lena's like, what the fuck? Why is Clayface making Brainiac sympathetic? Like, oh no, he's just so sad. He lost his monkey. Like, no, he's a piece of shit monster that's gonna kill us all. Why are you humanized? Like, just the treatise on like the male character is obviously getting just,
right.
Oh, poor him. Like, I can't believe Lena just kind of like fucking left him like that. Like, I didn't know.
What?
I'm saving humanity, you nimrods.
Yeah, you're a little bit cold about it though.
It's again, last episode brought me hope again of this show, and this episode fucking put the final nail in the coffin of. So the writers, the only idea the writers can have is that Harley has no idea what she wants to do with her life. So maybe by the end of this season, she'll have an idea, or honestly, maybe wrap this season up, because you fully admitted you don't know what to do with this character. Like, she has a hair up her ass about being in a musical now because of a thing. She was in Sound of Music as the Hill. The Hill's not a character. It's alive, you bitch. See how it's still funny, but not quite.
That's good.
That's not it. No,
it's not bad.
No, moment to like. There's a reason I still watch this show, but
well, speaking of moment to moment, but otherwise terrible. You watched a bit of Invincible.
I watched all of this season 3 when it has out. And I hate when people do this. Normally, when people hate watch a show, I go, man, if you don't like it, fucking stop watching and stop ruining it for everybody else that's watching it. So I feel like Invincible is definitely like, I shouldn't be doing this. I don't understand why.
Like, I sat in on about half of an episode and was like, oh man, I just don't like the A plot. I really like the B and C characters.
It is genuinely
frustrating. No, I'm not watching this show.
It is genuinely frustrating. It's my Flash, I guess, of like, dude,
Right.
why am I
No,
still
I get
watching
it.
this?
I get it. It wasn't even hate watch. It just, I don't know. I like owed it to Flash somehow. It was not good.
You just do it for no joy in it left.
Right,
Just
right.
going through the motions.
Like, I promised Flash's uncle when I couldn't get him out of Nam that I'd watch that fucking show.
But Invincible,
Died in my arms.
so Invincible this season, Rex and Ray are starting a new relationship. Ray just gets an arc. Like, she didn't even have almost 2 lines of dialogue in the last 2 seasons. Monster Girl and Robot get a little bit more to do. What they're doing with Oliver actually got interesting in the 4th episode with his new friend group that he's finding. The backstory episode for Cecil is crazy good and almost too good. It almost gives you too much sympathy for Cecil and not enough for Mark. Because again, what's wrong with this show is Mark. Like, Mark's growth arc doesn't track, or they're overselling how much he needs to learn. Like, Mark's a bully this season in regards to, hey, Cecil, you can't be using criminals to get done what you need to get done. And Cecil's like, fucking grow up, you child. Like, you don't think that we went to the moon based off of just American get-to-itiveness? No, man, a lot of fucking Nazis helped us get there. Like,
Yeah.
Cecil has a great line as far as his mentor, Bokeem Woodbine, which is a great fucking pick for the Cecil. And it's like, he says it back to where Cecil doesn't believe it at first. It's like, hey, you can be the good guys, or you can be the guys that save the world. But you can't be both. And young Cecil thinks that's bullshit and kills the criminals he's working for, spends a little time in prison, fucking figures out like that the world is gray, not black and white, which a character literally has to say this fucking episode, so I understand what we're doing.
Right.
But I like the idea that it's not either or. There needs to be good guys in the world, and there needs to be guys that save the world.
Those aren't always...
Cecil's not to try to make Mark him.
Right.
No, like, I need you to be a good guy, but I'm going to be the guy that does the shit that you won't let yourself do.
Right.
Which is good. You shouldn't let yourself do it. But someone needs to do this shit. And, like, it's an ends justify the means, but with some, at least a little bit of a recognition of, well, we got to save some of our ideals. Otherwise, what are we even doing this for? And Mark is just a fucking bully that keeps choking Cecil's ass out every time he sees him now, and attacks the Pentagon every time he thinks Cecil has slighted him. And is like, dude, you're proving Cecil right now.
Right.
How dare you put a fucking sonic device in my head? Dude, you attacked me.
Like, I don't know. You only found out about it because you're holding me by the neck.
You flew right at me. And I can't know if you're not going to kill me, man. I just don't know that.
Right.
And yeah, later in an episode, like, Mark says, I don't know, when Cecil attacked me, I guess I just saw, I was like, nope, time out. That's not what happened. Cecil did some unscrupulous shit with the Reanimen and saved your ass with the Reanimen and Darkwing, some previous villains of the show. And you got a hair up your ass about it, confronted him, and then you attacked. And you offered him an ultimatum of like, no, I'm not leaving. Or like, okay, or what, Mark? Are you giving threats now? I thought you didn't do that. Oh, I guess people change. Cool. So I got to hit you with the Sonic thing now.
It feels like, I mean, I've not checked in on this show in a long time. It feels like Mark's growth was to get worse.
I think it's, this season feels like he's to get worse to get better, because the last episode at least teaches him, hey, learn how to get used by other people, or they'll just use you anyway.
Like in the little bit that I'm with you that, like, once the theme checked in, like, okay, that's seeing it in a more gray area is pretty cool. Once Sandra Oh, that's the mom.
Sandra Oh, yeah,
just straight up says the theme.
Yeah, just says it.
But
which I know you're fucking up when you have to write that.
But most of what I noticed was like a Snyder-y junior high kids idea of maturity kind of level of ultraviolence, like the amount of blood smears everywhere, and then Eve's costume transformation is just an ass shot. Yeah. And like, it just feels like it just feels juvenile in a way that, like, I don't know, Sausage Party's all right, but it's weird here.
Well, especially when the other themes are actually pretty good. Like Machine Head versus Titan
Man.
here is really...
Like I said, when it's on the B&C stories,
Yeah.
fucking Machine Head is amazing.
Jeffrey Donovan as Machine Head is actually awesome. Just great stuff.
Him retaking the gang in the background of all of this is just fucking great. The Order, I'm sorry.
Well, also, like, Titan proves that, cool, I asked you to help me do a thing. I realized that you're probably not going to want to do it, but I had a backup plan. You're going to do the thing I want you to do.
Right.
Like, because you're a chump.
Just the manipulation's a little more complicated or different.
Because I'm not even, like, well, they keep saying, like, Titan's smarter than you think he is. And that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But also, Mark is even dumber than you think
Mark's
he
pretty
is.
easy to lead around by the nose.
Mark's super dumb. Like, to the fact where Cecil losing control on him feels like, man, Cecil feels like you fucked up. Like, you should be smarter that you couldn't keep a leash on Mark. He seems pretty
easy to jump
easy to
here.
lead around by the nose.
Yeah.
I watched the final episode of Crapopolis this season, like the 10th episode, which is a clairvoyant that ends up showing up that used to date Deliria and is like, oh yeah, hey, cool, so I'm gonna be your new stepdad. Like, what? Like, you married my mom? No, but it's gonna happen. I can see the future. So like what? So my parents split up? No, she loves Slub all the way up to the end. What?
Wait, what?
Okay,
Okay, so I've said too much.
No. So you came to that conclusion on yourself. That wasn't me. That doesn't count.
All right, man, I gotta watch that. That's
The only
fucking great.
reason it's weird is because the previous episode was Prophecy Duck,
Right.
where they do a similar thing.
Right.
It feels...
Are these out of order?
I feel like another sense of this might be out of order, and it doesn't feel like an Ender
Right.
episode.
But then again,
Maybe there's more. I'm not sure.
no one knows what the
No one
fucking
knows what the release schedule
is or how many. What's the season?
They're all sorts of fucked up.
Yeah. Also, no one knows why they didn't set up the website to sell me a Prophecy Duck.
No.
Motherfuckers. Get on it.
You want to add anything on to the TV diaries?
Yeah. What did I watch? Well, I watched parts of some Psych and Parks and Rec. I've watched several episodes of The Pit, which is about a Pittsburgh hospital with Noah Wyle. It's also got Fiona Dourif.
Oh shit.
It's a real-time medical drama. Like, each episode is an hour, and it's taking you through a 12-hour shift in a way overcrowded, understaffed emergency room. And it's pretty fucking good. Every once in a while, they stop to, like, Noah Wyle, like, goes off on, like, a medical, like, problem with the medical system lecture for just a second, but it's generally handled pretty fucking well. All of the page, like, Mackenzie Aston's one of the family members of a patient. Like, you get into each of the stories of things. Every episode so far, like, I've only watched one at a time and then waited even when there've been a couple available, because I didn't start the week it started. They are heavy. Like, every episode has a, like, oh my God, that fucking death, Jesus God. or the fucking lady they can't talk to because they don't know what language she's speaking that degloves her leg from the knee down. And, like, they show it. Like, there's been twice on the show already where they've shown like, setting a bone or moving, like one guy's got, like, the bone in his, called floating face syndrome, like, the bone in his face is cracked loose, and, like, they figure it out by, like, going to open his mouth to put the tube in, and his whole face just moves wrong. Like in a way that, like, what the fuck? Like it's... So if you like medical shows at all, I would recommend The Pit. White Lotus came back, and it's just one episode back of that. They're in...
Walton Goggins is in this
Goggins
season,
is
right?
in this season, along with our favorite character from Sex Ed, the blonde girl that has to figure it out for herself in sex education.
Yeah.
She's Walton Goggins' girlfriend, date, whatever, at this thing.
Wait, Sex Education or Six Lives of College Girls?
No, Sex Ed.
Sex
The
Ed.
British.
Okay.
Yeah,
British.
the British girl with the teeth.
With the teeth.
I don't know the actress' name. She's fucking adorable.
I like that you're like the one that has to figure it out for herself. Like, I think you mean the one that's masturbating, but
yes.
I don't know. The one with the teeth.
It's literally like one of the first things a character says to her. It's
Sorry.
like, I love your teeth. Oh my God, thank you.
Honestly, that actress, like, it's a choice not to fix those teeth. And I can kind of get it. Like, it gives her a distinctive feature and it's
Right.
kind of cute.
Amy Lou Wood
Amy Lou Wood. All right.
is her name. Yeah. She's just her character in this is the same level of like wide-eyed, adorable, just spitting cosmic truth, like brutally honest, but in such a just like puppy dog way that you can't be mad.
Seems good for seems like good casting for that actress.
Like it's also like you can't entirely see how Goggins hasn't killed her yet, because he seems like the kind of guy that might just kill her. But so far it's been White Lotus. There's a death. I already am 100% sure who the body is, and I'm very sad because it's a character that I'm like, God damn it, they're gonna die. So looking forward to that on probably Sunday or Monday nights. Watched a movie called Wildcat that's about Flannery O'Connor, biopic with Maya Hawke as Flannery O'Connor, directed by her dad, Ethan Hawke. It is kind of dreamy, and she lives a very solitary life. She has lupus, is very sick, lives with her parents in Georgia, and dies in her 20s. And, late 20s, I think. And so they kind of do a cool thing in the movie of her life, like the lupus diagnosis and all this, just her being mad at everybody and how tight society is then. And, she's a woman wanting to write fairly dark short stories where somebody fucking dies every story. And then it cuts to like her writing her stories and they're being acted out, but the roles in them, all her stories are very small casts, and the roles in them are all her family and a couple of people that she's seen around. And it makes for a neat trick of like of both expanding the movie world,
sure, but
also always reminding you of how small her world is. Because she really doesn't know that many people,
right?
But yet she's writing these. Also, they get across just how insanely Catholic she is. But it's called Wildcat. It was a really nicely shot, very kind of dreamy movie.
All right.
And then I think you came in for part of Lisa and I watched a James Baldwin speech Q&A thing.
Sure.
If nobody's read James Baldwin, you should go look him up. Everything he's written is fucking mind-blowing and hard to sit with. And this is him and Dick Gregory at an event in the UK, I believe, explaining to a room full of non-US black people mostly what the American black experience is like.
Right.
And it's hardcore. The title of it is Baldwin's N-Word. I'm not going to say the full thing. There's an explanation for why in the thing. It's on Criterion Channel. It is 45 minutes long and worth watching. I guarantee there's a couple of things in it that'll stick with you and make you rethink how you sit with some issue or another. Mm-hmm. It's just really, really good shit. Also watched the movie Elizabeth Golden Age, which, wow, I just merged that and the first Elizabeth movie into one movie. Because it had a couple of scenes in it where I was like, well, this is why this wasn't in the first movie, and I was confused. It's from the second movie. And then probably the last thing we should talk about in the diaries, we finished out Little Peter Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I was good. We again get on my brain like we should save that one for last.
Yeah.
So the last 2 episode drops of My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yes, keeping up their absolutely normal drop pattern of 2, then 3, then 3, then 2.
Apparently, it's already been renewed for 2 and 3.
Okay,
so
well,
you don't
cool.
have to worry about that.
Well, that was my fear because holy crap, did they hold back so much story?
So the last 2 episodes are just as good as the previous 2 episodes, minus like what I already thought were wrong with some of the previous episodes, like the heavy emphasis on Scorpion.
Right. But they're super fun, super cool episodes.
But as in regards to a finale of a season, I think it's pretty shitty. Like, it's not very good at all. In regards to wrapping up even a semblance of an arc of what season... I don't know.
I don't feel like... I mean, I don't really feel like... I didn't get the Osborn lied to me. What he lied to him about was the project they were working on a little bit, which y'all were interns and didn't maybe have security clearance for that. Anyway, that didn't bother me as much. It didn't feel like he lied to Peter about what to do in a situation, like whether this is a bad guy or not.
I thought we were leading up to their different moral philosophies were at some point going to come to a head and clash, and they would disagree on what to do in a situation, and ultimately break because of that.
And I guess that's what was supposed to have happened happening in Peter's head when he hears Norman's with great power comes great respect in his head when he's about to stab Scorpion to death.
Sure.
But it didn't. That's not how that
doesn't
read
land
for me. And that scene landed so wrong for me as to almost fuck the episode. Where mostly it came down to a nit. I realized we could have fixed it pretty easily. Should have moved when he gets the new suit.
Right. If he was still in the white suit, I think visually.
But it felt like such an un-Spider-Man thing to do. I needed him in the white suit.
Yeah, and he'd still be feeling like Osborn's Spider-Man, and he's not our Spider-Man yet.
And it'd make him take that suit off, and it would give us a precursor to him eventually getting the black suit and then taking the black suit off and reclaiming his original Spider-Man identity.
But then I think the other people would have, like, makers of the show would have been like, oh, but then he'd only have the spider suit for one episode, rather than the two we have it. Like, dude, just have him in the last episode.
Doc Ock didn't even get his arms at all, so...
Well... what shocked me is that, like, so Peter Parker or Spider-Man never interacts with Dr. Octavius in any way.
No.
And I get that he's rivals with Osborn, and that those the ones that have a rivalry in a pre-existing relationship, and they pay that off. But it feels weird building up to the mastermind behind all these weapons and who's making all these villains, which is Doc Ock. And yet, the biggest villain that Spider-Man has to overcome and face in this one is Scorpion. And sorry, Scorpion fans, but man, Scorpion's basic shit. And he's actually less interesting here than he is in other ones. Like, because now he doesn't even seem to care that he can't take the suit off. Mm-hmm. At least, that was his thing before, that he was tricked into wearing the suit, and then like, oh, sorry, you can't take it off. What? I'm now a fully, like, robot monster? How dare you have sympathy for me, audience, and, like, you know, we have at least something for him.
No, and man, we talked about this. His number 2 is
well, he's nothing.
Right,
she's like nothing's assistant.
Right. Like, I was like, man, you're boring villain's assistant.
What's funny is that Doc Ock has a really funny secondary, a sidekick.
Right.
That I thought, like, oh, that's interesting. He's an egomaniac. He normally works alone, but he's so weird in this one. Vincent or something. But he doesn't take care of himself, so Vincent has to, like, take care of his, you know.
Have you eaten?
Like his Watson of, like, if you let Sherlock off to his own devices, he'd get high off of just fucking opium and never do anything.
Right.
Like, you need a guy that just is like, okay, are you eating? Like, I mean,
have a sandwich.
Are you still playing that video game? Like,
I'm just grinding for. I want to get it done before they close the exploit I found.
And I thought that would lead somewhere,
right?
To like something, but Vincent doesn't even get captured with him, or we don't even see him. I don't know. It felt.
No, why didn't Victor break him out? Why didn't?
It felt like we're halfway through a 16 episode season or something. Or like a 22 or something of how the stories have been building, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Nico hasn't done shit with her necklace. We tease it, but she hasn't done shit with it.
Also, this is going to piss me off eventually when they reveal it. She's actively keeping a secret from Peter after having a conversation where they pointedly said no more secrets. And after she got distinctly mad at him about keeping a secret from her. Like it's so specifically on that I'm like, this is how you accidentally make characters fans hate characters more than they should. Right.
Because when she reveals her secret to Peter,
I'm going to be like unsympathetic towards her.
Peter's going to be cool with it.
Right.
Or at least not bitch about it for an episode. And we'll go, see, that's why Peter's a better dude. Like, rather than her being upset about a thing, because I actually understood why she was upset. But you can't give her that upset and then give her a fucking... She's been keeping a secret that entire time and is still upset? Mm-hmm. At least give her the secret after. So that she doesn't have the context of realizing she's mad he kept a secret of her while she's actively doing it. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Also, the Lincoln storyline has, like, never really hit for me at all. But I do like that he saves Spidey at the end, and it's the best fight the 3D animation has ever been able to pull off.
Oh my god.
And so I like that. I mean, the 10th Street gang or whatever have like the Don, Big Don, just fucking flaked out. He didn't have to take over the gang from him, which I thought was where we were heading, because he was becoming more popular in the gang than Don was, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But no, Don just runs off. And I guess Lincoln's in charge now, even though... And he's like, oh, I'm going to go get my GED and like maybe at least community college. And then like, but he's also running the gang.
I had to
Like
look
that-
up who Vincent was.
What's that?
He's Leapfrog.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. Leapfrog?
He invents a costume for himself eventually, and
That's amazing.
and it's Leapfrog.
That's really funny.
I was like, I just got to see if he is a person or if he's like us looking up the kid in Penguin and being like,
rip it or rip it.
I'm like, I know that's so Leapfrog's the Marvel rip of that guy in DC, I guess.
Okay.
I think that's his name.
I don't know. But it feels like we leave a lot of stuff on the table, to the point where when the final episode ended, I was like, wait, what did we accomplish this season? Like overall in people's story arcs and character growth. And like Peter has accepted that he's Spider-Man, I guess. And like, okay, I
Was
guess
that what we were doing?
I guess that kind of comes off near the end, but also it's weird because now his origin is an Ouroboros eating its own tail bullshit, which I hate.
Man, and I thought you meant that they just they opened the portal and the spider went back. No, it is a spider made from Peter's blood.
Yep.
In Oscorp.
So,
Sent directly back through that.
It makes it a fate argument of like, no, I was fated to become Spider-Man. And I'm like, okay, I think it's cool that anyone could have gotten bit by that spider, but the right kid did.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we've seen a lot of other examples of, Venom and Green Goblin or other people that get similar powers that don't use them responsibly. And that, oh, thank God Peter's the one that grabbed it. I think it's a better of an act of happenstance that someone's making the best of than a fate thing.
Yeah, same.
I realize Spider-Verse kind of ignores that too, of like, man, why are there so many Spider-Men? But like, it's an infinite universe or whatever, and you go with it. But I feel like that with Spider-Verse, the second movie in the Spider-Verse thing is about him denying fate. Like, no, I can be Spider-Man without my dad dying. What are you guys talking about?
Right.
That's insane. No, you don't need, like, Spider-Man don't need a fucking father figure to, like, die in front of them every time to become Spider people. Like, so this one was like, oh, no, it's fate. And it's a good thing that it's fated, because you should be Spider-Man. Like, okay, that feels like exactly opposite of what the other animated Spider-Man thing that I was doing. But I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I felt like I was having so much fun for the first 8 episodes, or at least 7, because then fucking Scorpion shows up and is fully Scorpion. And then when the minute Scorpion like fucking cleans his clock, like it's all what should happen, but I guess I just don't agree that Scorpion should be the one that does it. He doesn't have any connection with Scorpion. It doesn't feel like anything. Like if anything, it should be Doc Ock or someone that's his intellectual equal as much as a physical threat. Like, I told you, man, if we're going to do this, I would consider Rhino a bigger threat, and a Rhino shouldn't be the one you use.
No, it shouldn't be any of those guys.
It shouldn't be any of these fucking C-tier fucking people.
Yeah.
Fuck, I would take Kraven over a bunch of these other fucking
Well, it just should have been Doc Ock.
Right. It sure felt like that's where we were going, didn't it?
And like, make the break decision that Osborn wants him to, wants him to kill Octavius for this.
Yeah. And you can do this whole same thing of where he beats the shit out of Spider-Man, beats the shit out of the cops, and has to be stopped by Iron Man. Of like, no, a real superhero showed up, and like have Peter's like, ugh, that means I'm not a real superhero. Like,
so if I were doing it, I'd make it Octavius. I'd have Peter get to the point of like with Osborn full on like finishing Peter.
Yeah.
Like, he's too smart to leave. Like, he will come after you. And Peter knows that's the wrong decision and is about to say it, and then Iron Man cuts him off, like shows up and takes care of it.
Yeah.
So he doesn't actually have to make that decision in front of people, but he still goes back for the debriefing and says, Mr. Osborn, I can't work for you. And then Harry show up at his house later and like, hey, bro, you made the right decision. I'm also not going to work for my dad anymore. I'm going to start Web. And also, you can't go back to the sweats. Here's the red suit.
Yeah. Apparently, Web is a theme park attraction at Disney.
Oh, cool.
Like it's like
Part
a
of, like Epcot-y.
like an Epcot, like you can go visit it for like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the up and comer scientific minds, and there's lockers for Amadeus Cho and Peter Parker and
Nice.
like there's it's
Jean
like
Foucault. And,
yeah, it's basically like a whole Marvel Easter egg that you can just walk through, which is kind of
nice.
cool.
That's really cool.
And so they use that for Web here, which is like, oh, we kind of have a thing like that. Like
That's great.
so making it kind of like a canon thing that exists is neat.
I did like Doctor Strange showing up and being like, Osborn, there's no empty spots in
Dude.
space. We're the Marvel Universe. What
Nope.
the fuck?
Actually, no, you're thinking of the real world. Real world space
right.
is empty. In Marvel, space is real full.
Like, as soon as the other scientist is like, sir, I haven't fully cleared those coordinates. It's space. It's fine. Like,
Yeah, okay, I mean, famous last words.
and he's like, I couldn't have imagined that. Yeah, that's what we specifically said.
no,
is a thing you won't imagine.
No.
Unimaginable horror. That's what that means.
That's what it. Yeah, man, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I liked the symbiote just covering the thing.
Yeah. Well, it's like I like the idea of that it is just a blank void that the symbiotes took over or whatever that was until it was a blank void, and all of a sudden there's a wink of light, and now the wherever you are, like it's just like a what the fuck is that?
Right.
Like it's just a beacon of like bad shit in the universe is like whoa. Hey,
No,
what's
like-
up?
Yeah, like I've been in the endless still no time for a millennia, and like you're the first change. Like, yeah,
Right. But the break isn't bad enough for me to think that honestly in the next season he could go back to working for Osborn and I wouldn't question it all that much.
no, I know he's not going to, but it's done in an
I don't
off.
know that he's not going to.
But like, I don't think he will. But it's done off. It's like killing a character off screen.
Yeah.
It's that bad of a.
They don't even
fuck
have a
up, in my
conversation
opinion.
about it.
No, he tells Nico like, no, I just can't work for him again. But they're gonna have a conversation about it though.
Yeah.
Well, he's still gonna be wearing an Osborn suit
Yeah.
technically.
Technically.
So like, I don't know what they're gonna do. It's just I can't believe that's the last episode. And I say that despite it. This isn't like where it spends the last third of itself doing the finale stuff of giving everybody a vignette wrap.
Yeah.
So
But
like it is the finale.
yeah, it is. It just feels like I don't know, feels like we didn't
It feels halfway through the arc at best.
yeah. Yeah, Doc has making the designs for his arms, even though he's obviously already.
In an insane manner.
Gargan has what is one of your tail, or his tail is one of your arms. Like you've, the basic of it is done. I
just assumed there'd be an industrial accident in his lab where he already has the security arms hooked up.
Yeah,
Those are his arms basically, and that he'd end up fused to them.
Sure.
Which I thought is how it might have happened in one of the comics. Anyway.
I don't know. They changed his origin a couple times.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad they got a season 2 because I'm stunned at what they didn't get to.
No, it's. I don't know.
It's a weird position to be in. Like, I'm super glad they got a season 2 because I really loved.
But do I want to
this
do
show.
I want to go back and rewatch this immediately? Kind of
No.
like because I don't know.
No, I don't.
I know the Nico thing isn't really going anywhere.
Now that I know things aren't going anywhere, I don't want to put up with the animation things that were bugging me again.
Yeah. Well, Doctor Strange shows up and doesn't have one conversation with Nico, the other fucking magic
He still
person.
doesn't know Spidey's Peter, really.
At least, I don't think. But like, oh, I thought that's why we were adding Nico into the origin, was that we're now putting magic into the origin, which I thought was weird, but you know, at least that gives Nico something to do.
Right.
Except
Right.
So Nico doesn't really have anything to do this season other than be mad at Peter that he's
No,
not
and
hanging.
if she'd been having problems with her necklace and hiding it, we could have done like where I thought we were going to go this season. Like do a parallel thing where Peter's hiding Spider-Man and you're hiding the necklace thing, and it turns out Spider-Man knows a guy that could help you with the necklace thing, and Peter's friends can help him with the burden of being Spider-Man. You know.
Maybe I will rewatch it because some of this is like, am I putting too much emphasis on where I thought this was going, and I'm not seeing what it did do over this season, and I'm mad because it didn't do the things I wanted it to do.
I mean,
Or-
almost certainly, but
Or like, because I just feel like it didn't do a whole lot, you know?
yeah, like this doesn't. I don't know. It definitely didn't. A different thing bothered me about this than bothered like the thing that principally bothered me about all of this was the change in Spider-Man almost killing somebody and being stopped. Like that really bugged me. No pun intended.
I think that's fine as long if you want to bring Lonnie Lincoln as a pretty big character that helps him not do that and bring him as part of the origin of him becoming Spider-Man. I mean, that's different. I mean, I also would prefer that Spider-Man stops himself.
Right. I think
that internal struggle is
and he's
more
already
important.
in the red and blue suit when he does it. I really
So
hated
I think
that.
the external thing services Lonnie, doesn't service Peter.
No, exactly. Because the parallel that will eventually work better is that Lonnie stopped Peter from going too far and becoming a criminal. And later, Peter won't be able to stop Lonnie.
Right. Which is a thing that will pay off later. I mean, right now it doesn't help us out.
For Lonnie's character.
And right now it won't help out.
Right.
It doesn't help out. But what really pissed me off was the last thing we'll talk about is just that the reveal of Peter's dad.
Yeah.
Which is actually the same voice actor from the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, I figured out.
Okay.
Which is pretty funny. But May goes to visit Richard Parker in prison. It is unclear what crime he committed. It is unclear whether Peter knows he's in prison. I think maybe. That might explain some of his actions in this arc and why he feels that why the sense of responsibility is we noticed that his sense of responsibility is different than most continuities. And not by a lot, but slightly. And I thought, ooh, if he knows if his dad is in prison, like that might shift his priorities on what he thinks of how much he has to take on. His guilt is different.
Right.
I think we both came up with again, if they don't do it, we're going to be mad. If Uncle Ben got in trouble, like a la Spider-Verse, and Richard Parker was at fault for his death, then that could be a real breaking point for Peter in the fact that not only did your morality like father figure die, like Uncle Ben, but the reason you're living with Aunt May now is because your actual dad fucking caused his death.
Right.
That's the most interesting thing the show has done.
I don't know that any of that's happening.
But that's the most interesting thing the show could do because it opens up like, that's a lot of different motivations you can play with. That's a lot of different story elements. That's different, but not so different because Peter's parents haven't been a part of his life for a minute.
Right.
When most of the continuities is because they're dead. But you accomplish the same effect with you accomplish basically the same effect with them in prison, but also that's why it can be slightly different. So I think that's a really cool, interesting change that they should have done at the end of episode 1 and thread through this season.
Yeah.
Because now it's just a thing that happens that could be cool, but now it's just a thing that like, okay, I don't know how that pays off or if that...
Right. All I know is that he's in prison. That's it. Right.
Like, all I know is that could be interesting.
Like, do we actually know why he's in prison or anything?
No.
At all.
The show does not...
He's just in prison. That's all.
No, he's just in prison.
Yeah.
The show doesn't really...
we have no idea
why.
if he had... I mean, anything about Peter's parents or speculation.
We don't know why he's in prison. We don't know what happened to his mom. We don't know what happened to Ben.
Right.
We don't know why Ben's not there. They never actually officially say he's dead or how he died. They're trying to play... And they're trying to be cute about it so that we don't guess this twist at the end. And, like, that's why we never talk about Uncle Ben almost at all.
Yeah.
And why we're talking about Osborn trying to teach him lessons and not Uncle Ben. Like you were saying, we need a flashback to Uncle Ben. And I'm like, that's a good idea, except that they almost can't because that would give away what's been happening with Richard and that might spoil the Richard Parker thing. So I think the show decided to not do it in exchange for the surprise reveal that his dad's in prison. And I think that's a twist that, you made a cool, interesting story decision that now is a net negative because you decided to hold it back like a surprise. And you thought the value of the surprise is more than what it offers the narrative.
I mean, because we still could have flashed back to Ben because we don't know that he killed Richard or had anything to do with the death. That's entirely speculation, right?
Right. We don't know. Yeah. No, we don't get any flashback to Ben at all.
No. We know nothing about why.
We know nothing about Ben Parker in this.
And we know nothing about why Richard's in prison at all.
Okay.
Nope. I can't be clear enough that like
No, man,
the,
fucking no,
the thing that you feel like you've moved one step past it and are assumptively taking that he's had something to do with Peter's parents' death. And,
That's just us.
That's like I don't know that at all. Like
No.
that's just you.
That's just what I would do.
That's what you'd like to happen.
That's what I would
can't
do.
be clear enough how mad you're going to be.
Yeah, I think that's the most
we can
interesting.
go back to this episode because you're going to be so
I'm gonna be pissed.
fucking mad.
But also,
I'm not kidding. But like again, that none of that is happening.
Also, if you had told me that from the jump, from the second episode, I wouldn't have speculated that, and I won't be mad if you don't do it.
Yeah.
Because now you're going to give me a whole year.
Right. No, it's timed very like it's so little information that you can't help but try to fill something in.
It's a bad reveal.
Yeah, it's a weak finale. It's a fine episode. It's a weak finale.
Yeah. I don't know. It's such a bummer. I was into it. Like, I would go back to listen to our, like, what was it, 3 weeks ago that we fucking started this?
So excited.
And I was stupid excited for another Spider-Man cartoon.
Well, I part of it is just the disappointment of like, that's it?
It just doesn't feel done. Okay. Yeah, you just gotta, like, fucking take it there and, like, take their word on a bunch of stuff. Like, trust us, this will all pay off later. And, like, okay, I don't want to take your word on everything.
I mean, I'm glad they got a season 2, but we've already spent.
I'd like some proof this is going to pay off. I mean, it's cool you made one of the characters Finesse, but you realize we don't know anything about her.
No, you have to have read it.
Or that Daredevil's investigation of Osborn didn't lead to anything. He didn't prevent that or help Peter out in the final battle at all.
Yeah, it's weird.
Sorry, guys. I don't know. I didn't mean to be so down on a fucking cool superhero cartoon.
There we go again. Swinging through the city so fast you can barely notice him. Wild crawler, you know what's after that? Friendly neighborhood, he's taking care of the habitat. Urban acrobat, don't know where he find the time. Fighting crime, humble beginners and now we fly high. Spidey says, superpower science kid. You don't think it's fair? I got the world's smallest violin. At the pinnacle, perched at the top. It's daily and it never stops.
Now it feels like a good time to probably mention that if you haven't joined us over at patreon.com/tvdudes, you can throw down $1 an episode, get bonus content each week. This week, we picked up the Shield and caught Captain America Brave New World over in the theaters. And I know it's been getting ravaged over on Rotten Tomatoes.
Sure.
But I've decided recently on our movie stuff that I see absolutely no fucking reason to be coy or have people sit through an entire spoiler-filled discussion to find out whether a movie sucked ass or not.
We
And
liked
so
it.
I just leave, like, if you want to find out why, listen to the Patreon. But we liked Captain America: Brave New World.
If you want to listen to a dissenting opinion,
it's a nuanced take. We didn't love it.
no, we recognize that there's reasons why this doesn't hit.
But go check it out over on patreon.com/tvdudes, and you can see what we thought. But before that,
Oh my god.
it's time to talk about Sekai Tekai. Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 3.
I know things got out of control in Barcelona.
The kid died.
Is the tournament back on? What am I even fighting for?
I wish I had the answers for you, kiddo, but I don't know.
They should fear you, and if they don't, make them.
You can beat Axel. I gave it everything I had last time. Didn't make a difference.
Nobody deserves to get their ass kicked more than that bitch.
It doesn't matter what happened last time. It doesn't matter how many people are watching. I show these assholes how we do things in the valley.
The 6th and final season of Cobra Kai, also known as Cobra Kai 6, stylized Cobra Kai VI, consists of 15 episodes and was released on Netflix. Unlike previous seasons, it was distributed in 3 parts. The series is a direct sequel to the original 4 films. Fuck you, it's not.
Okay.
Let's see. So the season was originally set to be released in 2023, experienced delays as a result of the labor disputes, and the second part got an early release. Then, the final part finally fucking dropped. I think we were all stunned when Cobra Kai started, just how fun it was. And it's been a wild ride of discovering how that worked. And it's paradox. It's weirdly, I think, as we found, Cobra Kai is at its absolute best. I thought it was when it was silly. It's not. It's when it's
Dumb. Yes.
And I
Yes.
mean this in the
best
way
possible way.
because I was not joking at the top of the show. Like, this is about a karate cult that takes over the valley, and every once in a while in the show they'll acknowledge it and wink at it, where they'll have another character to the side go,
Yeah.
"Wait, I'm sorry, did you just say that the All Valley Karate Championship is bigger than the World Cup, March Madness, and the Super Bowl rolled together?"
Everyone bitches about the Marvel method, but that's exactly what's keeping Cobra Kai a little centered. Of like every once in a while, a guy remember like just what the fuck are we talking about? What?
Right. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like they actively refer to it as the Karate Wars in the show. Like, I'm glad the Karate Wars are done. And like it's like fighting over being the greatest dojo in the world between like grown men. Oh, it's a children's karate tournament that they've murdered someone at. And we're still having it because it might be important. So there's so many things that I loved in this final section because like this show knows what it is and knows how to run with it. But I love that in the final moments of these kids going to college, none of this karate mattered on like so many times it got brought up that like, well, they Miguel needs this for like to get into Stanford. And like, no, he didn't. He didn't. No, it's karate. He didn't need it. It's karate. No one knows what the Sekai.
So, well, the first episode back, they're all back in the valley, and they time skip a bit, and we see
Kwan's funeral.
They burn that motherfucker like a Jedi. I thought his Force Ghost was gonna come up.
Oh my god!
They give him a mean bug one last time. So, holy shit. So they're all dealing with the fact that it's a bummer that the
tournament
got canceled, and now no one will ever know like who would win and whatnot, and they're all dealing with moving forward, and honestly, like, as they should, because like, well, there's no way we can put on the tournament again. And I'm like, yeah, there's absolutely no way. A child died.
Like a teenager died on the mat from a knife.
Died. Like, if the Sekai Tekai isn't canceled forever,
right.
It is at least canceled for this
Stabbed
year.
by a sensei who's a wanted felon. Well, not wanted because he faked his own death in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Like the further the authorities pick at who stabbed Kwan, it is absolutely.
Well, Kreese has a great, interesting arc this season as far as he recognizing finally that he's failed Johnny.
Like that he's just like and not in a way that can be undone or I'm sorry. Their conversation in the hallway was genuinely moving, and Zabka looked like he suddenly looked like a hurt little kid.
Man,
like that looked like tears that were supposed to come out when he was 17.
You fucking understand what it was like. It hurt more, not that you choked me out, but that you didn't show up
the next day when I needed
you.
His line about like I didn't trust
anyone for years.
Yeah, slapping that hand away when Kreese starts to put a hand on his like it's all just so good. We get moments earlier. So that first episode, they're all trying to move on, and we find out that Silver really wants the Sekai Tekai to happen.
My God.
And so he ambushes a grown man in a massage session.
Yep.
And then bullies him into agreeing that if you can get everybody on board, we'll do it. So by episode, we wrap this up so fast.
By the end of episode 1, we're on board again, getting it back together.
I messaged you at the end of episode 1 and was like, holy living fuck, Cobra Kai is insane.
We watched this out of order until like the last 2 episodes or something. Because like
not out of order, out of sync.
Out of sync. Like, because you like I like you would watch ahead of me, and then I think I got a little like ahead of you,
yeah.
And then you got ahead of me again, and we were all just like, what the fuck? What do you? And it got to the point of like, man, why did we watch this separately? All we're doing is texting each other like, can you fucking believe this?
Right.
And
when the second episode starts with basically narration of like the Sekai Tekai is on, and
yeah. Well,
we've
the
moved on
fucking
past all the unpleasantness.
Ukrainian guy or whatever, like, decides to, when they move it to the valley, because of course they do.
Right, Gunther.
Gunther or
German guy
whatever
or wherever he's from,
decides
Austria.
like I want to be the MC versus these guys in the valley that are like
Right.
how they convince them to put on, hey, so you realize that local karate destroyed your community several times.
Right,
Like,
right. Has like leveled a high school.
how the fuck did they convince these people that an international fucking karate tournament would like
that
was the
just
good
killed
idea?
a kid.
That
Hey,
just killed a child.
can't say that. You bring up Chucky's dick a lot. No, it matters.
Okay. The well, not only that, but like you pointed out, so hey, so the last time this happened, it was also a tragedy from this guy Miyagi or whatever his name is. Hey, what was the name of your dojo again? Miyagi-Do?
Really?
What?
Wow.
So the year we bring back
Right.
Miyagi style
Right.
karate.
First year we've had Murder Dojo back. And
kid-
holy shit, weird. You know where we ought to go? The place you're from.
And when I realized by the end of this, I'm like, this makes no sense in any reality.
It does in a karate cult.
It doesn't make any sense at all. And I was like, and that actually is a net positive for this show.
Man, I liked watching this and imagining
The
it.
previous 5 episodes tried to make too much sense.
Right. Like watching this and imagining it as 5 like commune cults all showing up to like one spot in Oregon to compete. Like that's what I look at it. This is 5 karate cults that have all shown up to one spot in the valley to like have a who can do the kick ritual best.
The audacity of the storytelling is a feature here, not a bug. It's like watching a cool bike jump, but realizing that but we can also add fire underneath.
Right.
Like,
Like we'll do the fireworks help you jump. They do not.
if
But
anything,
they
it makes
look
it harder.
cool. Actually makes it harder. Yeah.
Because it just keeps continuing from there as far as, okay, Sekai Tekai's back on, training montages abound, we're back into it, everybody's back on board. Tori's like, everyone's surprised that Tori isn't fighting for Cobra Kai, even though, of course she fucking isn't. That would be insane.
Right.
No,
do you
Kreese betrayed her, and her fucking teammate died. She never should have been there in the first goddamn place. They do their rounds as far as final arcs for characters in that last episode and preview and penultimate. And I like that Tori finally goes to the LaRussos basically as a family, hey, look, so I know that I have not always been cool with you guys over the past couple of years, and they've been the toughest of my life, but also kind of the best. It's weird.
Yeah. I lost my mom. It's been horrible, but also you guys have been there for
you guys have done nothing but try to help me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't always appreciative of it.
It really hit for me, Tori's growth. And like you just said, it would be fucking insane for her to fight for Cobra Kai, and yet by the end when she's standing there in the gi.
No, when I realized, Les, it's not crazy for her to fight for Cobra Kai. It's crazy for her to fight for Kreese.
Right. So when Johnny takes it over,
because
it's like you said, everything feels like the craziest thing in the world, but inevitable when it happens.
Yeah, it's genuinely shocking. You can't believe it, but also feels inevitable.
When Daniel LaRusso in a Cobra Kai gi.
Yeah. What?
Fucking LaRusso looking at somebody and saying no mercy. Or not no mercy. Cobra Kai never dies.
Cobra Kai
That's
never
what he says to
dies.
Silver. I was like, God damn it, it's fucking great.
Because Miyagi-Do gets kicked out.
Right.
I thought that was an interesting way to go.
Not
with
even
it.
kicked out. Sam,
knocked out of mathematically eliminated.
Yeah, Sam doesn't fight, which is great. Honestly,
well, they don't.
Miyagi, the greatest nod you could do to Miyagi would be to
not fight,
to realize that the tournament doesn't matter. You've learned what you needed to learn, and the better thing here is to help your friend. When she says, "Dad, I don't know if I should fight," Tori needs this.
Yeah,
and I don't. In a way that I don't. Not that I don't need it at all, but she needs it in a different way.
Yeah, and I'm mature enough to realize that.
And I was you can't. And I realized right then I don't know how they're going to explain it, but you can't fight. She can't fight.
Right.
That would be fucked up. And that would have been something 2 seasons ago. Of fuck Tori, I'm fight anyway.
Right.
But her bowing out is amazing. And then training Tori is amazing.
Well, Robbie takes his loss like a champ.
Dude.
Because they cheat in like fucking Ivan Iron Dragon, like the rips his fucking knee apart, and he's like, and he's just kind of sad, but he takes it like, man, I could have won that fight, and
right?
now
And
no
now
one
the
will.
world just won't know that I could have.
But I do.
And oh man, the moment when Daniel looks at Chosen and goes, "Do you know the hand
Dude,
thing?"
heat massage is not fucking magic.
Chosen's like, "It's a heat massage, Daniel. It's not magic." Like,
God damn it.
it's like that's so great. But man, I cannot stress enough how much all of us, like everyone I knew at 10 years old, genuinely thought that shit would have healed anything. Like, no man, I heard his knee snap, like snap.
No, man, crackle pop, baby.
Right.
But yeah, they realized after that fight that like scored so many points on him that like, cool, we're behind by like it's not impossible, but like the math, like they'd have to get this many takedowns and like the math just isn't there. And like Dimitri and Hawk have to like basically break it down to everybody. Because now everybody that's not the main like 6 players is basically background supporting. They're not fighting, at least in the tournament, which kind of sucks for them. But
they do so much like camera work of like showing me Kenny and like other kids in the audience and like watching them. You know, just hey, everybody's still alive and supporting.
Kenny and LaRusso have their thing, but it was a couple episodes.
And them sitting in the audience together after, especially after like the Where We Left Them last time was like Kenny finding out that it wasn't LaRusso that did that to him, but like letting him.
Oh, hey, wait. Oh, boy.
Thanks for.
That's all right. I just did this for us. Yeah, you sure did, bud.
Yeah. Really did me a solid. You won't do any others for a while.
But we don't get a last hit with Kenny or them, like what they're doing after this.
No. We do find out that the Binary Bros are together.
Yep.
Dimitri, who had been demoted, I think, to guest or whatever background, like he'd been demoted one cast level last season. You just wasn't in it much. Was brought back more for this season. Yeah, so we find out the Binary Bros are both going to Caltech together, which is fun. I love the return of Dimitri's girlfriend, just always hilarious to me. Like,
Right.
I realize it's just a joke on nerds and hot girls, but I don't care. It's simple and stupid and it works.
Well, I can't have sex with you now. The tournament's going on. Like, okay, you're definitely doing this. Like,
right. And him coming back in, like checking his clothes, is it like, you know, buttoned up correctly and
woo,
shit.
what a match, guys!
Yeah, good job, guys.
Good job.
I was definitely here for it, supporting.
Woo!
Yep.
Fucking nuts.
And I can't believe I'm always stunned how good the fight choreography is in this show. But the girls' fight is fucking spectacular.
Yeah.
The finale girls' fight with Tori and Zara. He kicks that bitch's teeth out.
Dude,
Oh,
just
man. So good. And then the boys' fight does a thing that I can't believe I don't... I said I couldn't believe I don't see it done more often. And then I saw it done almost immediately in something else and it didn't work. And I was like, oh, I do see it done, just badly.
Right.
They thread through a fucking series worth, like seasons, all the way back to like Ep1 of flashbacks
Of Miguel's
fight,
trainings.
everything karate's ever meant to him. After Johnny says the greatest Johnny speech ever of like, you can't go out there and win points and do what if that's how I used to fight, and that's look where that got me.
Right.
You got to go out there and just show them the best karate that.
Just bring all that with you onto the map.
Everything that it's ever meant to you, bring it all. And man, whoever, they got the fight choreographer that was choreographing this fight to match a ton of the moves beautifully, so that the shots match, really closely to a lot of things he's doing sometimes. And then eventually you get into things like him just standing on the harness. That's not going to match, But like the moment of Miguel, like, learning to literally stand on his feet again after getting his back broke, and then cutting back to him jumping up from a crouch and kicking the snot out of that kid was just rad. Also, like, that whole fight just worked so fucking well. But then in the middle of it, the other guy also got a goddamn growth moment.
Yes, he's the Johnny that was strong enough and mature enough to stand up to Kreese when it mattered.
Right. So we get all these inversions on the original Karate Kid stuff because he has the moment where he's supposed to kick him in the back and break his back
He
again.
was supposed to sweep the leg and he didn't.
And he just doesn't. And he tells his sensei, he's like, I'm ashamed to have you as a student. Good, I'm ashamed to have you as a sensei, but it's a shame I don't have to feel anymore. Fuck up. It's fucking great.
Oh, he walks off and like, good for him.
Right. And then the thing that you deeply, deeply wanted to see was like if we're not building towards Johnny learning the Craig kick, what are we doing?
Well, I was like, okay, so Johnny, the show is about, and I'm glad like in how it ends is the show recognizes. I'm like, because I'm like, okay, the show is not about Danny.
No,
like Danny's the side story. The show is about Johnny.
Right.
Johnny and how he.
When Miyagi-Do dropped out, and I realized like my brain had a moment of like, hey, dipshit, the show's not called Miyagi-Do.
Yeah. Because we didn't explain that like. Yeah, because Kreese basically doesn't fight, like Tori's not going to fight, and basically they give control back to Cobra Kai. And if there's one critique I have, it's not a big one, because ultimately it doesn't matter. But the Cobra Kai have been villains for more of the show's length than they have been...
Right.
Johnny's lost control since, what, season 3, I want to say?
Maybe even earlier.
Like season 2,
Whenever he Eagle Fangs out.
Season 2, he's still working with Kreese at Cobra Kai.
And I'd say he doesn't have control then.
Season 3 is fully... Kreese and Silver, so I think he's fully kicked out by then.
I would say by the end of season 1, there's not what's eventually going to be, which is Eagle Fang being taught under a better name.
Yeah. So the show has been, for most of the time, as much as we were talking about Cobra Kai as being the good guys, no, most of the time Cobra Kai has been the villains.
Right. We're at the end of this show. We are now truly in a position for a healthier, better Johnny Lawrence to make Cobra Kai something wonderful.
And I would say like that was a quick transition. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Right.
I'm having so much fucking fun.
Well, I like, wait, how are they just able to switch teams like that? And it's like, well, technically, everybody on that fucking mat basically
has been Cobra Kai.
They've switched sides all 6 seasons.
Right.
Like they've been switching back and forth.
Darn these karate tournament technicalities.
So honestly, the karate rivalry is the first time it's been a net benefit.
Right. That's the only way any of this works. Absolutely. Also, the in-boys fight is so good that you lose track of the point scoring.
Yeah.
And it actually works to reveal that we're tied. And how do we settle a tie? In the craziest way possible for a children's karate tournament.
And how here I was like, okay, so the show is about Johnny, and it's about Johnny replaying that fight he lost in 84, 86.
Whatever it was, yeah.
Whatever it was, in the 80s. And it's about him, like, the first episode starts with him remembering that crane kick that ended it all.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, okay, so this is Johnny's second chance to do things right. So I was like, okay, how would that show itself visually if I was doing the show? And I'm like, well, obviously, he would have to do the crane kick.
Mm-hmm.
He would have to be the Daniel LaRusso and learn restraint or, patience or whatever the fuck. But it has to end with him fighting and doing a crane kick. And I didn't know how that... I'm like, I don't know why he would fight at the end of this or whatever. He's not part of the tournament. I don't know. I guess he'd fight Silver at some point because Silver's a psycho.
Right.
Sensei Wolf definitely needs his ass beat, so maybe that'll happen.
Right.
I didn't genuinely... So when they had a tie, I was like, well, how do they... Oh, luckily we have ancient tradition. How do we settle ties?
From the other room.
And I was like... No, there's no way that they're going to use the senseis.
Like, I was in the other room. It's just like...
Because I was like, this is a children's karate tournament based on who's the best dojo. It can't be 2 old people that can be of any determinate age.
Right.
Like, just having a fight out in the karate tournament.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Sure.
And they do it, and I'm like...
It's the only thing that could have ever happened.
And it's kind of like it's kind of like a thing of like a show just calling your bluff on like, sure, it doesn't make sense. Does this matter to you?
Right.
I thought it would, but I guess it doesn't.
Right. No, it's amazing. Like, the Wolf's like half his age. I don't care. It makes no fucking sense. Like, he's just gonna die out there.
He's gonna get
doesn't
killed.
Matter. It's so good.
And
then
also they don't do the crane kick.
Right. And the thing they do is
because Johnny doesn't need to become Daniel.
No.
That's where I was fucking up. Johnny needs to become his own person. He needs to become his own...
Better Johnny.
Better Johnny of what Cobra Kai... The show's not about Cobra Kai being wrong. It's about Cobra Kai being another end of... You can't just be defensive your entire life. You'll let people walk over you.
You can't just be offensive.
But you can't just attack everyone that ever causes you a problem. You'll never get anything done like that. The show has always been about balance, hence the black and white.
Right,
like
right.
it's never been subtle about it.
Right. But him learning to do what he didn't do, like Daniel said, you know, the crane kick would
only worked because he ran into it.
because you ran straight into
And
that
it's part
fucking
of the
thing.
Miguel speech too of like, dude, that kid had 6 months of karate training. I was bigger than him. I was older. He should have never have beaten me. But I got in my own head about it
Right.
and defeated myself basically.
Right.
Like he shouldn't have won that fight. And so again, it's literally Johnny getting into the same situation again. If he was presented the same opportunity, would he make the same mistake? And after 6 seasons, slowly but surely, we finally get Johnny to a place where, yes, he backs away.
Pauses just a minute, lets him walk into
He
it.
waits and lets the fight come to him. It's the first time. No, Johnny of previous seasons always goes to the fight. He's the one that brings the fight.
Right.
This is the first time where Johnny's like, no, I have to let the fight come to me. It's not about who strikes first. It's about who strikes last. And like that's what the last episode is called. And like strike last.
No, the last episode's called Ex Degenerates.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, which
No,
one's,
but like second to last is
which one's called strike last?
penultimate or one before.
Damn it. Okay. I thought that was a great way to reflect that.
No, that's what I thought too. It's the falling action one is, well, it's not really falling action. It's the sensei fight.
Wolf is about to do a crazy fucking kick, and Johnny backs up, and then he backs up again, and then he backs up one more time, and like you know that must be killing Johnny to do
Right.
any of that, let alone do it 3 times.
Strike last is the penultimate. Strike last is penultimate.
Strike last. Yeah. And I thought that was a great lesson.
Yeah.
And just great visual, like, storytelling. The win for Johnny, they fucking hold him up at the end, just like they did Danny.
Yeah.
Danny comes over, you're all right, LaRusso. Like, or you're all right, Lawrence.
Lawrence.
You're all right, Lawrence. Reflecting back to the, like, and it was like, shit. It all fucking works. They all go on to, you know, Sam and Miguel are going to Okinawa.
Yeah.
And they're going to hang out in Karate Disneyland or whatever. Daniel gets the closure on Miyagi's criminal report.
That a guard at the internment camp stole that necklace from him, and he broke into that dude's house and beat the fuck out of him.
Right. And
stole that necklace back. Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
that was awesome.
It's like senseis are just people, and we need to take their lessons. Man, we didn't even talk about the Pat Morita fucking.
Well, so the 2 things left that we've got to talk about before we're out is, one, the single craziest moment that made me like caught my breath of like, this shouldn't work, you sons of bitches.
It again is so dumb.
Daniel has a dream, and let's start out by talking about how basic bitch Daniel's dreams are. Daniel has a dream where he's walking out of his own house, sits down, and sands the deck a little bit. It's the most boring start to a dream.
Wax off.
Right.
Wax on, wax off bullshit.
You know, a lot of people have dreams where they whack off.
Yeah.
But yeah, Daniel's are boring as fuck. And then fog fills the backyard, and a million skeleton ninjas come bailing in. It's amazing immediately.
Because that episode is called Skeletons.
And then who steps
and I was like,
from the
shadows? You thought that was a metaphor? This is Cobra Kai,
it's Cobra
bitch.
Kai. There are no metaphors. What's a metaphor? And then who steps in to help him fight all the skeletons? Miyagi. Adult Daniel LaRusso and Miyagi fighting back to back is everything I never knew I wanted. Oh my god! I was sitting alone in the living room with my jaw open, just like, this is the great. They cut so obliquely around his face, they use the silhouette in the fog of the stunt double, and like it's honestly it's beautifully cheated. I don't care. It's it worked so stupidly well, and so it's just so dumb.
It's so dumb and cheesy, but it works to give him a final, send off for Miyagi,
right?
And I think I know what the next thing you're gonna say.
And the other thing we got to talk about is talking about senseis being people and walking me around in something that shouldn't be possible. Mm-hmm. Justice for Kreese somehow.
Yes, so Kreese is a guy who can, like, Johnny is a guy who can grow and change and get over his past trauma.
Right.
Because he's older, but he's not at the point left in life where he can't He has enough time to change.
To be a good dude. Kreese doesn't. The best Kreese can do is realize what a massive fuck up he is and really basically leave the world in Cobra Kai or his teachings with his student, the one that figured it out. And can he possibly make his death at least helpful?
Yeah. Johnny's the best thing that I've ever touched.
Right.
And even that, I kind of ruined it.
Right.
So my last thing I do is to help out the only person that's ever been in my corner, even when they shouldn't have been.
Right.
And that's Johnny.
And meanwhile, Silver this season, I'm so glad they did it this way. They show him to have cancer, which explains his desperation to get the Sekai Tekai and all this karate
Honestly,
bullshit.
it makes a lot of his past decisions make a little bit more sense.
But they don't play it as a sympathizer. He is still full of shit.
It just gives a reason for why he's
like when Daniel
about
calls
it.
bullshit of like no, he really has cancer, but also he is still full of shit about his he's not suddenly seeing the light or become a nice guy. And I really respect that the show is like, no, we gave him the reason he's so desperate, but we're not dumb enough to think we can win you over on Silver. Silver's a fucking villain. So the final Kreese's final scene, we get a pretty funny scene of Silver and his henchmen on the boat.
Well, it's gonna again, like Cobra Kai is gonna do an insane thing of like, well, Silver threatens his baby.
Oh my god, he's gonna send his henchmen to go threaten the family. Even the henchman's like, boss, burning down Mike Barnes' furniture store is one thing, but
Silver basically like, hey, go get me his fucking wife and kid. I'm like, what? We're kidnapping kids on this fucking show? Like, my god. And I have to remember, like, oh yeah, we threw Danny into a fucking dog kennel.
Right, we're just not bringing that up again. Right.
Like Silver's wanted to take it to 11.
The speed from which the scene goes from there is amazing. That henchman goes up those stairs and we hear a scuffle, like just a noise, and then that dude's body just comes back down those fucking stairs.
And the way they shoot that is great. Of like, that dude's dead as
He's
fuck.
bleeding out the ear. He's dead. Dead. You just know it somehow.
And so like when that guy comes down, you're like, okay, who's left in this cast that hasn't had their arc completed that we can have them kill somebody and not lose sympathy for them?
Also, as soon as that happens, Silver's immediate move is to grab the bottle of wine and break it on a counter. And like I like that we talk about like liking characters that don't hesitate. He's a fucking villain, but man, Silver don't hesitate.
And Kreese is on this yacht. How did he get on this yacht?
No idea. There's no boat nearby.
Has
nothing.
he been hiding on it the whole time?
I don't even know, man. How does Kreese get anywhere?
What the fuck? Cobra Kai magic.
Fucking magic.
Smoking a cigar.
How does he get from Korea back to America over and over?
Well, how is he at the? How is he at
How does he
the
get to
valley?
Barcelona?
And no one's fucking arrested him.
Right.
Like,
It's amazing.
but yeah, we get a final standoff with Silver and Kreese. And Kreese is like,
Man, he got a good speech in it. Kreese gets a good speech of like, where Silver's
like, you still can't shed that weakness of Johnny Lawrence. Like
he's like, no, Johnny's nothing but a source of strength, man.
No, he was my greatest.
I'm a piece of shit. Johnny's the greatest thing I've ever done.
I didn't recognize what a source of strength he was.
Yeah, I like that. Like, no, man. Everything I've ever touched has turned to shit. The fact that kid's still amazing. That guy's amazing.
I failed. He didn't fail me as a student. I utterly failed him as a teacher. Right.
It's a speech that shows you that like the dude that showed up on this boat fully gets it. This is changed Kreese.
Right.
And he also gets that doesn't matter to anyone else.
Nope.
He still needed to do it. That's the real lesson. He still needed to get better.
He's doing it for him.
Even when it can't.
Even when it can't fix things.
Yes. Yeah. And then, they blow that boat up.
No.
Mercy. It's so good. I rewound it back. When Silver realizes that he's thrown the cigar towards the flames and yells, no!
After a two old men karate fight that is...
Oh man.
Like, as all the other fights are cut, like, man, what a great fight, and that they can cut back and just show the two people fighting.
Not this one.
And Kreese and Silver's fights have always been cut real close.
Cut like a Born Identity fight.
And like, because these are two very old gentlemen.
Yeah.
That's how the fucking penultimate ends. Like, that's how that ends. Honestly, I was like, oh, I know it shouldn't end like this, but I'm kind of for Cobra Kai's final episode ending with a yacht explosion.
It's just fantastic. It's so good. It's so good. So, yeah, I hope everybody else loved Cobra Kai as much as we did.
What a great ride.
What a fantastic fucking season.
What a fun experiment this Cobra Kai thing turned out to be.
And I really hope that all of this shit gets referenced in the next movie, which I assume it will. There's a new Cobra Kai Legacies, I believe is coming out. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to be Sam and Miguel in Okinawa
I think
or
so.
what, but it's got Daniel in it.
Well, no, wait. It would be it would be Hong Kong, considering it's Jackie Chan.
Oh, and Chan's in it, right?
Just Chan's Jaden Smith or whatever, and that was one of the things was that it was Kung Fu Kid, not Karate Kid.
Right.
But because they were in, I'm not sure if it was Hong Kong, but they were in China, I think.
Yeah. So see if this. I'm interested to see how they blend this together. One last thing. Where was Hilary Swank?
Okay, so as far as real nitpicking ones, I think I had this. So Justified.
This is my. One
I thought
nitpick.
Justified was the perfect show until someone like ruined it. Like, I think it was C. Robert Carhill on a Junk Food Cinema episode where he was like, "Yeah, they could have done one thing," and they've been like, "Oh, well, the Elmore Leonard books, Michael Keaton has shown up as his same character in 2 of them."
Right. That's why he's the same character in Out of Sight and
Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, well, you could have had him shown up as the same, not Marshall, but like FBI or
he's an
whatever
FBI
character
agent.
in Justified. And I was like, fuck you. God damn it.
Absolutely.
I didn't know I wanted a thing, and now I want it and can't have it.
Right. Like there's a season finale guest star.
Right. And now Hilary Swank is going to be that forever for Cobra Kai for me.
Right.
Of like, I don't get why we didn't.
We found everyone who'd ever touched any piece of film of these movies, it seemed
You
like.
can't tell me that Tori.
And I know she was never in the Valley, but
that Tori and Sam couldn't have used another female mentor.
that's where I really thought we were going to do it. I thought we were going to sneak her in these last couple of episodes.
That wasn't Crazy Cobra Kai Lady.
Right.
Also, Crazy Cobra Kai Lady ends up with Chosen. That's pretty cool.
I love that.
Pretty
I love
cute.
that, even though she kind of fucks off for an episode.
And she does kill her dad. She's a murderer.
Oh, yeah, grandfather, whatever he is.
I guess no one's perfect, right?
Right. And they're out in a lot of huts in Korea. I don't know what the law is there.
Well, I don't know if there are laws out there. Where
No,
the
it doesn't
fuck
seem
are
like
they?
it. I don't know.
Some island in international waters? What the fuck is this?
Guyana. I don't know where was that?
They had a
wherever karate cult set up.
I don't know, where they burned a child's body.
Right.
Like, and they said, like, oh, he didn't have a family. Okay, cool. I feel like you didn't look hard.
Just hear me, like Heaven's Gate. Obviously, that sounds like a bad cult, but Heaven's Gate Dojo, and that is the place you drop your kid off on a Saturday. I'm just saying, they all wear those shoes.
Sure. Yeah, it's it's footwear. That's how you spot a cult.
That's how you spot a cult, dude.
Footwear. That's how it is.
Barefoot. They've all got the same
You
robe.
motherfuckers.
I see y'all. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap it up for us this week.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say, man. I'm gonna miss it now that it's gone.
I am. I'm gonna miss the shit out of it. Cobra Kai is so good. Maybe restart it just to. It's such a crazy journey. Episode 1's gonna look fucking nuts. Well, that's gonna wrap it up. Next week we're going to keep up our season sequel streak with the 3rd season of every boomer dad's favorite show, Reacher. We're gonna see if his largeness can solve whatever new problems arise. I believe the problem this season is an even larger person.
Even larger
Yes.
man.
Yes.
I mean, as impossible as it seems, no problem is so large.
No problem to be so large. Yeah.
But until next time.
TV toots never die.